Well, I think the thing that we talked about it briefly is just I think when I first came in contact with Jake, how quickly he learned the offense. So I'm not worried from a mental standpoint about that. His physical traits. I mean, he started almost every snap the time he was at UCLA. So he's got a lot of playing experience. His measurables, his intangibles, his pro. When you look at him coming out, there's a ton of really good things in his body that he can move and do. And I've coached him and I've watched him do it. Everything translates to being able to do it. Opportunity? Yeah, do it. So now it's his opportunity. Whether this is his opportunity or at some point during the season or whatever, maybe it's not again. But if it is, this guy has all the pieces. I've made this comment when we're looking at it. We get free agent, don't get a free agent. We have these draft picks. We have these guys here like Jake, and you say Spencer, you say Aaron Banks, you say Jalen, you say Colton McKivitz. I said we drafted these guys for a reason. We like these guys. They're the right kind of people. They all work hard. They all have a skill set. Now, what's their level? A couple of these guys are later round draft picks. Are they going to ascend to a starting level? Are they going to be more of a backup guy? Jake's in that group. He's wasn't a high pick. I don't think he was drafted. I think he was an undrafted guy. But the skill set and the person say this guy should be able to play. His college tape, all these kids' college tape was really, really good. So they got drafted where they got drafted. But you're saying this skill set, and I keep going back to the guy. That's what I think our scouting department does such a good job of. Is the right kind of people, and eventually that person shows through the adversity, through the bumps and bruises, through everything else. They end up managing to deal with it and come out the other end being whatever their skill set says they're going to be. Because there still comes down to you still have to be. There's a level of talent and how you can execute on a day in day out basis. But that's why you have to feel. So you look at Creed Humphreys. I'm not Creed Humphreys. What?
Yeah.
You can't say right.
Center.
Measurables with Jake aren't that different. Because I was like looking up saying, why is it that? Like I started looking because everybody sees him as being short. He's like 6'3", 6'3", 6'4". I mean, he's not. And then you start looking at the measurables. You're like, and I'm not putting him in that category today or anything. I'm just saying though that you can see the measurables and say, wow, this guy's got these traits. His shuttle time at the combine, his three cone, or whenever he did his pro day, whenever he did his times, I don't even remember anymore. Yeah. And you see those things and go, and then the flip side of that story is, Dan Brunskill doesn't necessarily fit that prototype, but yet finds a way to get guys blocked on Sundays, and has done a good job. So that's why I say that's my experience. My experience is that they have those traits, and they're the right kind of guy. You have a chance. I mean, we talked about Aaron in the offseason, his getting his body in shape and not in shape. He was in shape, just getting himself ready to play, and he's had a great offseason. He's done everything. I said to him, when he came out and he got injured in the preseason, and then this, that, and the other thing happens, and as the year went on, he was more ready to play. I told our strength coach, I said, we'll know about Aaron Banks next camp. I said, yeah, whatever he's going to be this year for us will be fine, but I said, we'll know more about him. This is going to be a year from now. And what Aaron's done is he's done everything right. From the minute he got hurt to today, he's done everything right. Now what he has to do is he has to play. He has to play NFL football against good players, and then we'll see, where he ends up being. But like we just said, great guy, really good skill set. He got 330-something pounds, man. He can move and hit and strike. He does a ton of good things, but he's still got to go do it. I had an old coach said to me once. He said, I got a great set of tools in the trunk of my car, but I don't know how to change a tire. Right? So those tools can only amount maybe to so much. But I'm not saying he can't change a tire. I'm just saying that Banks can. He's got a ton of ability, but we still have to see if you can put those tools into play. That's my job. That's his job. That's our job to make sure that the kid is done. But he's done everything right to this point. So all these guys have. You can't look up and say, yeah, well, Banks is, he's done this. He hasn't done this. No, it's all been right. Now it's just a matter of getting the reps and doing it. That's what to me has been the most frustrating thing for a line coach in today's NFL, with the limitations in the offseason. Wanting to keep guys healthy, which is paramount. You got to keep them healthy, but there's just not an excuse. It's just this is it. I mean, the clock really didn't start ticking in June. There just weren't a lot of practice, and the tempo was such that you're trying to keep guys healthy. So now here it is, every rep. That's why I've told the guys, I said, you can't look at camp as you can't have a training camp mentality, like, oh, here's the grind to camp. No, these reps are like, I got to get them, I got to go, I don't have time, and camp isn't long anyway. You know, these blocks of 3, days off, we're traveling, we're doing this. It's like bang, bang, bang. You better be ready to hit the ground running and get some work.
Coming off that 2020 season, McGlinchey talked about how he was too light that year, that he wanted some more anchor strength. He came in heavier last year. Now he says he's back at that weight that he wanted to be at. How did that determination happen? How do you find where you want him to be so he's strong enough for that anchoring and pass protection?
I never, like, I think he was too light. I think it's execution of fundamentals. You're 300-something pounds, yeah. Is 315? I don't. They know better than me. So how they feel, the strength coaches, the nutrition staff, they all get together. They determine it. Body fat content, lean muscle mass, all that stuff. I can't. That's beyond me. I watch a guy play, and I know that if you put your hands in the right place, if you do play with pad level, because I never looked at Mike McGlinchey in the run game and said, "Oh, he's too light." And he's knocking people off. He's one of the premier run blockers in the NFL at tackle. He's a great run blocker. And the weight hasn't. In fact, I think more weight maybe hurt him a little bit a year ago, or whatever it was. I don't remember when he jumped up in the weight, but it is. There's a level that I think a player has to feel comfortable. They have to feel they compete. They have to feel they can play with strength. And in that position, it is a big man's game. So maybe that 10 pounds or 15 pounds can feel light in the pants, you know. And that might have been what he felt. I keep saying half the time you felt that you weren't doing your fundamentals correctly, and that's why you felt it. But then it is, if you do have more weight, it can be, you know, Trent Williams gets away with some things being as big and as strong and as physical as he is. It can be lacking technique and just, and it all stops right there because he's Trent. Whereas a guy that, you know, when you are lighter, it does put a premium on the technique. So
makes sense.
Explains.
Yeah, makes sense.
How do you coach Trent Williams? Or you just run him out?
Come on. No, I don't. I mean, I try not to run him out. Trent and I have a relationship, which is really good because I'm able to, I don't want to say make suggestions, but we have like a dialogue. Like he came in the other day and said, okay, let me tell you what I'm thinking my plan for camp is on my pass protection. What do you think? And I'll say, yeah, dude, but I also think looking at the off-season cut-ups, you need to work on these 3 things. And I don't have any problem with Trent because we've been together for so, I mean, we've known each other for so long. Just say, hey man, you know, not good enough. Yeah, coach, but I was thinking this, and yeah, I got it. You're gonna get him blocked. I know you're gonna get him blocked, but we're still trying to clean it up. Every guy, that's why when you ask me about Spencer Burford, you ask me about all these guys, Trent Williams has stuff to clean up, and he knows it. He knows what they are, and every guy does. It's such a, that's why golfers that are, you know, they go out and they keep hitting buckets of balls, right? It's never ending. And for Trent, it's the same way. So there's always stuff that he works on, and I've been fortunate enough to have coached some guys late in their careers, and I always say, look, you get away with this stuff now, but at some point, I don't know when, he's a special person, but the legs start to go a little bit, the strength starts to go a little bit, things like that. You're like, these are things that if you start doing them now, when that time comes, you'll be better. You'll be able to play maybe a little bit longer if you want to do it, you know, as opposed to when they go, these techniques won't hold up as well. And so maybe you can develop some habits now. Not that he needs to change anything. I mean, he's playing at a really, really high level, but there's always, like I say, there's areas that he can improve. And so, yeah, he's fun to work with because he really, I don't think people realize he's not a student of the game like Alex Mack or Dan Brunskill, like the way they study, but Trent like studies stuff like the defenders. I mean, and Trent has there are 2 players, Trent and Warwick Dunn are the 2 players I've been on teams with that walked in the building and saw the big picture of foot. Like they saw stuff. Like most rookies, you ask a rookie, you're like, tell me the difference between your first and second year. The rookie year is like this. All they see is what's in right. But then as the years go on, this starts happening. And Trent came in, Warwick Dunn came in, it's like, Warwick missed like 8 days of camp. He came in, it's like he didn't miss a day. He was better than half the veterans that had been there. You know, it's like, and that was Trent, that part of it. But then his study of opponents is unbelievable.
Well, he's got to figure out what second level linebacker he's going to take out.
He sees a lot of things,
Right.
but his thing is like when every week we do these, I have the guys do it's not an original idea, a lot of people do it. You have your guys do a scout report. You have, I assign you a defensive lineman, you a defensive, and every guy, and then on Saturday night or Friday, whenever we do it, we read them. And I said, I don't need a book on them. I just, what's our approach going to be? What's our attack going to be? And it's Trent's the best. It's not even close. It's not even close how on point he is about what the guy's trying to do and what you need to do to block him. So then you're his athletic ability, his strength, his experience, and you also put that much work into it. That's what's so fun about coaching him. But yet it's a constant that. But he also loves to sit down with me and have a talk and discuss the whole thing as well, which is what's so fun about coaching him. So it's a real. I'm real blessed to have an opportunity to work with him.
His backups with McKivitz and Skull and Jalen Moore all seem to be progressing pretty well as camp. I have a question about a guy that's just on the bottom of the roster, Alfredo Gutierrez, and how far he's come in the last year. Just as an obvious project guy, what's he been like?
Fredo's worked really hard.
Yeah.
He's been there every day. He's done a good job. He's gotten, ask Chris Kasarik says he's gotten better. I think he's got what? Chris Kasarik said he's gotten better. He says, because we're always saying, I don't know if Fredo's ever going to make it.
He's a big dude.
But he's working hard, and I don't know that he's ever going to be that.
I know.
But he's